Good morning and welcome back to Saturday Morning Switch, and it's here! Woo! Yep, the Switch has been unleashed on the world for over 24 hours and everybody's raving over Zelda. Literally, my entire friends list and my entire Twitter feed has been Breath of the Wild. There's my friend code, by the way, if you wanna add me. Anyway, this episode is going to be less of a prepared script analysing some element or game, and more kind of a stream of consciousness about like my initial thoughts on the Switch itself. So we'll start off with the hardware. I feel it's a bit loose when you insert it into the dock. Like, there's no satisfying click or anything when you do that, it just happens. And I have heard some people complain about scratching, although I haven't pulled it in enough times yet. The HDMI cable that Nintendo provide also, as I discovered when I was trying to get stuff set up for this recording, not the greatest, because it's got, I don't know what you call it like, but it's got a long protector bit on it underneath the HDMI slot itself, which is not good on my telly, which has very little space to put that in, so I think I'm using the PS4 HDMI cable to get this to work. The Joy-Con straps that you get provided with the system, so like, not like the actual controller bit itself, but like the little kind of very thin slips ones, they're easy to put on, nightmares to pull off. Like, I was there for like 5 minutes trying to yank those things off. It works perfectly fine with the Switch and with the controller, but when you actually try and use those clips, I don't know, like, and that's a shame because I feel the loose Joy-Con configuration is probably the best one of the lot. Like, it's kind of like what the Wii felt like, in that when you had like one in each hand, except there's no cable in between the two anymore, so you can't see it obviously, but I'm stretching right now, and the fact that you can do that means really kind of like you can play however you want, and that's cool. Going back to like more negative things, I noticed when you're trying to insert like game cartridges, it's kind of hard, and I've had to input line in that a couple of times just to get it to recognise them. Like, you can see at the moment it's got Super Bomberman R in it. But sometimes I'd put that in and it'd be like, nope, please insert your game cart, and I'm like, but I have. I know there's been a lot of people who've been talking about the Joy-Con L problems. I've not had any of those yet, but I've only had the Switch for like a couple of hours. And to address the other big thing, yes, cartridges do taste like absolute ass. As for the kind of UI, one thing I did notice like when I booted up is it's really quiet. Like, if I stop moving things around, it's just silent. There's no background music or anything, which is weird for a Nintendo system. There's usually like something, but otherwise it is kind of really simple, sleek, quick. If I just load up news, see, nice and simple. Friend codes, I did mention earlier, they're back. It's stupid. I don't know why. Really. Do we really need these things? Really? Also, like, the console shows offline, even when you're not. You have to be playing a game, like, and it has to be a game you own as well. Like, I've got the Snipperclips demo, and when I was playing that, it didn't count me as playing Snipperclips, but it counts me as playing Zelda and Bomberman R when I was. Oh, and this icon, like, I picked Ganon because there's no Pokemon icons on the system. Go figure. Also, I suppose the other annoying thing is, like, so you have to make a new profile for us. You don't use your Nintendo Network ID, which surprised me a bit. I was expecting that to be Slazo King, but no, I'm Slazo, which I guess is cool in that the friend codes allow you to be whatever name you want, but, like, I made those things last gen for a reason. If we boot up the... If we boot up the eShop, now the UI they have now on the eShop is good at the moment. Like, when there's not that many games, having it kind of like this is really simple, clean, uncluttered, works. You can see coming soon, literally 4 games last time I checked. Yeah, it's still 4 games. And there's a code thing as well. Like, it's really clean, but this is not going to work in the long term, obviously, when, optimistically, the Switch has, like, say at the end of the year, like 100, 200 games, at least in terms of downloads based off that indie showcase. So, I hope they do kind of fix some of that stuff up in the future. Apparently you can do it like, well, it's not apparently, you can like do multi-region stuff as well, and it's really compatible with that. I've yet to try that out, because I'm happy with the European selection at the moment. And I will say there were a couple of games that we didn't like. It would have been nice if we'd had like more clarification, like Vose came out post the last episode, and that was coming out. I've no idea what Room Light Sky, Frontier Days, A Fellow. I had no preparation for that because I didn't even know what was happening. Neither same for the Neo Geo lineup. You can't buy Skylanders digitally yet. And I think the other interesting point to note was I did say that the Tomorrow Corporation trilogy of games would be on here. They're not, as you can see. So what do I know? But yeah, and I mean I brought it up earlier, but I do like the new stuff is like surprisingly like witty. I mean, look at it, look at that, look at that. It's awesome. That's great. I love that. The parental control one's there as well. I actually do recommend reading the article and watching the little trailer with Bowser and Bowser Jr. That's sweet. Of course, there's album stuff as well, which allows you to muck around. Oh boy, look, there's me being sass. And we'll get back to in fact, we'll start Snipperclips now. We may as well start talking about some of the games. Although I will say, you can see in the top right there, you can see the console percentage battery. I had to switch that on. That's cool. But there's no real option to see that for the controllers, which is a bit stupid. I'd like to see a percentage down there in the bottom right as well for controllers. But yeah, if I move on to Snipperclips, so we'll kind of go through the games. Now, I've only got the demo of Snipperclips, so I can't give you like a completely fair analysis of it just yet. I do like the aesthetic and kind of all the doodles and the characters themselves. Oh boy, no, don't pair Joy-Cons. Oh, what have I done? That was a terrible idea. Live, you can tell this one's live. Just one player. Yeah, it's just me. Either way, like I like the grid in the background. It really helps you when cutting it out. Sometimes it can be a bit too picky. Like there was one puzzle where I had like the shape 99% done. I think it was the love heart, and it was pretty much done, but it didn't allow it because it's being really finicky, and that was kind of stupid. Also, there's a lack of clarity in some goals, like I showed it in that picture earlier, and if I go back, oh my god, please close software. Does it actually expect me to be using that button? It expects me to be holding them like that. Why would I be doing that? That's okay, so that's something stupid apparently I've just discovered. That's not the... Why did you think I'd be holding them like that? Why would I be doing that? There we go. Right. Fixed. Man, that was a fun episode where you get to do this. I'll probably cut some of this out, but yeah. So Snipperclips, yes. Okay, there's a lack of clarity in some of the goals, so if I go back to my album. So as you can see here, this was a level where it was like, here's some balloons, but it didn't really, like, either I missed it like an idiot, but I think I couldn't really see any point where it would tell you what the goal was. So I got told on Twitter that what I was apparently meant to do is kind of like have one of them pin them down and then one of them joins and stabs them. That wasn't explained at all, and because of the way the bottom one's tied up there, and because it was pointing little down arrows, I assumed, oh, I have to drag them onto the log, and then that'll lift the log up, and that's where I'm meant to go. So yeah, that was bad. Not a well-designed level. So, but again, it's the demo. Maybe that concept will explain more in the main game before you get to that level. I don't know. Who knows? Next up, Bomberman. I really need to switch the thing off. What were my notes about Bomberman? He says, going at first of all, I'm bad at this apparently, having not played the game in like 5+ years since bloody Bomberman on the DS. But okay, so one thing you will notice when it eventually loads up is that there's a currency system now which allows you to buy stuff, and I think they're being a bit stingy with it at the moment. Like, I guess you can tell they're trying to longball the game because, thank you Konami, because basically you get like 100 points for winning a multiplayer game, and then some of the stuff is like 4,000. Like a stage can cost you 4k. So that's kind of, I mean, if I go, oh hello, that's the magic of the magic of life. But yeah, it's like look at that, like 4k for those things. That's not okay, to say the least. So yeah, the story, like, I don't think I'll be able to get into it quickly, but the story mode, like, has a weird kind of, I think this was brought up by some people, other people actually, like, it's not a top-down, you're kind of looking more, like, sort of isometric, but not really, but either way, it makes it quite hard at times to kind of judge fairly what you need to be doing. I tried doing this on Veteran, I died horribly at, like, the 6th stage of World 1, so, yeah, as I said, bad at Bomberman. As for actual finding multiplayer opponents, it didn't take me too long, but it wasn't instant. Like, maybe this is, I assume this is actually because everyone's playing Zelda at the moment, which is fair. But, I think the first one I was in had 4, the second one I was in had 2, and the first one did take a while to find. And also, for a game that goes, oh man, we've got hyper-realistic backgrounds, you won't notice that. Although I do like, I think I mentioned at the time, like 3D, and the verticality in it comes from like you can have people like standing on top of the blocks that you're blowing up because of the way the levels work, and that's really cool. Like, because I panic when that happens. I'm like, what do I do? How do I deal with this person? So yeah, I really do think that's a cool game. I need to play that a bit more, but hey. Then of course there's Zelda Breath of the Wild. I could be here all year trying to change these cartridges, so I will just give you, like, in fact, I know what, well, where's the eye candy trailer that I like and that I'm annoyed that I hadn't seen before elsewhere. They have a really, look, see, there's the parental control trailer. Somewhere we have, I think it's this, so I'll play that because that's a cool video. But yeah, so to talk about Zelda, fucking, where to begin? The world really does feel huge. Like, people say they have their, like, Hyrule Switch moment, but, Hyrule Field moment, but no, I feel like stepping out into the world of Breath of the Wild is far better, because Hyrule Field just is Blair, whereas the world of Breath of the Wild, there's a lot happening even when you first step out. And you don't have to, like, the game goes, oh, here's an old man, why don't you go talk to him? You don't have to. You can go do whatever you want. I climbed up the rocks behind, I saw some squirrels and acorns, and I went, oh, there's some moblin camps. Like, I've got 3 sticks. At which point I discovered how useless sticks are. It was not a good experience. I had to run away. Quite fast. And then you get an axe later on, which swings, like, really heavily. Which is exactly how an axe works, but it's, like, really hard to beat the first episode, so it's not until you get the sword that you really start having an easier time in combat. I did like the old man character as well, especially with the way he like controls you, going like, oh, here's a baked apple, and you pick it up, and he's like, what are you doing? That's fine, that's okay. Yeah, so I did. That was kind of cool. The game does a good job matching its aesthetic as well, of like traditional Zelda kind of fantasy with, here's a shrine, it's really kind of clinical and robotic and mechanical. And that works really well, which I suppose also ties into like the first power-up being magnets, which is weird to me. Like, I'm not used to that. So, like, and a couple of the things are hard to drag around. Like, I had problems dragging around the big, giant rectangle panels on the floor in the first shrine. But, like, the boxes were easy. So, I don't know, maybe. Hard to say. It's an interesting idea for a different power. I don't know what else you get yet. I've only played like the first hour, so I did get the hidden chest in that temple as well. So if you haven't, there's a spoiler for Zelda for you. There's a hidden chest in the first temple. Who knew? Anything else? Oh, the world as well is just like a joy to actually explore and play in the world. Like, there's a boulder, you just push it down, and I literally just watched this boulder just roll around, and that was fun. Like, oh, there's an apple out of reach, but I can climb the tree and get the apples. Like, stuff like that. Like, just kind of stuff a kid would do in the real world. You can do it in Zelda. I think that's really cool. And it really is open. Like, I get the feeling, I've listened to the old man and he was going like, go do the shrines, but I get the feeling that if you knew what you were doing, you could very easily just make your own way. So it's kind of, it's really un-Zelda in some ways, but it really isn't in others. So, yeah, and the fact that literally, like, within 30 seconds or so you've started the game, as opposed to, like, Super Bomberman R, which I was doing earlier, which had, like, 3 to 4 minutes of who cares? Like, it's Bomberman. if you would expect that to be the other way around, especially after Wind Waker, one of my favourites, has that unskippable cutscene at the beginning, which goes on forever. So, yeah, Zelda is amazing, and I can't wait to get back to it. So on that note, I will call this episode to an end. Yeah, this has been a bit weirder and different compared to what we usually have. More structured kind of content will be back again next week when I don't know what I'm going to do for next week yet. The Splatoon Test 5 is still a few weeks away, so it'll probably be a review of either Bomberman or Zelda or Snipperclips. Yeah, we'll say it'll be a review of one of them. Probably not Zelda, because I probably won't have gotten far enough to have like a proper opinion on it. But, so maybe Bomberman. But yeah, so come back next week and we'll talk a bit more in depth about one of the games, and we'll talk about Splatoon 2 Testfire when that happens. And yeah, as you can see, I've got a capture card so I can actually record stuff now from the Switch. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a like if you want, or you could comment on the video and tell us what you think of your Switch, or subscribe if you want to keep up to date with like Party Chat Podcast and Saturday Morning Switch. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.